Cinema can create bonds between people who would otherwise be strangers. The Passion of the Christ was a blockbuster in 2004, making $612.1 million worldwide. The film portrayed the crucifixion in a shocking and gruesome way, like no other movie ever did. Many hail it as the ultimate faith-based film. It does what great cinema should do: it stirs and makes us ponder. It challenges audiences to confront one of the most iconic images of our culture: a man bleeding and agonizing on a cross with thorns piercing his head. The film also ignites the imagination with miracles, heavenly beings, good and evil, and the issues of loyalty, betrayal, and forgiveness. The Passion of the Christ resurrection might start with a flashback to the crucifixion scene, with Jesus' body being removed from the cross and covered in a shroud. The scene may then shift to 3 days later, when a group of ladies led by Mary Magdalene visit the tomb to anoint his body. They are astounded to discover the tomb empty, save for the shroud and a young man dressed in white, who informs them that Jesus has risen and that they should go tell his disciples. Meanwhile, the Roman governor Pontius Pilate and the Jewish high priest Caiaphas are informed of the disappearance of Jesus' body by some of the guards who were stationed at the tomb. They suspect that his followers have stolen it and plan to spread a false rumor of his resurrection. They decide to bribe the guards and order them to lie about what happened, threatening them with death if they revealed the truth. The film could then follow the different appearances of Jesus to his disciples and followers, such as Mary Magdalene in the garden, the 2 men on the road to Emmaus, the 10 apostles in the upper room, Thomas a week later, Peter by the Sea of Galilee, and more than 500 people on a mountain in Galilee. Each appearance could show a different aspect of Jesus' personality and message, such as his love, his forgiveness, his power, his wisdom, his humor, and his mission. The film could also show how some of his disciples react differently to his resurrection, such as Thomas, who doubts until he sees and touches his wounds, Judas Iscariot, who hangs himself in despair, Peter, who weeps bitterly for denying him 3 times, John, who believes without seeing, and Mary Magdalene, who clings to him in devotion. The film could end with Jesus' ascension into heaven 40 days after his resurrection, when he blesses his disciples and tells them to wait for the Holy Spirit and to go and make disciples of all nations. The film could also hint at some of the events that will happen after his ascension, such as the persecution of Christians by the Romans and the Jews, the conversion of Saul into Paul, and the spread of Christianity throughout the world. These are some possible scenarios that could happen in the movie. Of course, we know for sure what Mel Gibson and Randall Wallace have planned for the film, but these are some of my guesses based on the information that we have so far. I think it would be interesting to see how they portray the resurrection and its aftermath creatively. The belief that could be explored in the film is that Jesus' resurrection was not a physical one, but a spiritual one, and that he appeared to his followers in different forms and ways, depending on their faith and perception. This could explain why some people recognized him immediately while others did not, or why he could walk through walls and vanish at will. This could also add a layer of mystery and ambiguity to the film, leaving room for interpretation and discussion. One possible way to use dramatic irony in the film, Christ's resurrection, is to show how the Roman authorities and the Jewish leaders react to the news of Jesus' resurrection, unaware that they have unwittingly fulfilled the prophecies and paved the way for the spread of Christianity. Another way is to show how some of Jesus' disciples, such as Thomas and Judas Iscariot, struggle with doubt and guilt, while others, such as Mary Magdalene and John, witness his glory and joy. The aesthetics of the first film, The Passion of the Christ, were praised for their realistic and brutal depiction of Jesus' suffering, as well as their use of Aramaic, Hebrew, and Latin. The film was also criticized for its graphic violence, anti-Semitism, and historical inaccuracies. The sequel could maintain some of these elements, such as the languages and the historical setting, but also introduce some new ones, such as supernatural imagery, symbolism, and allegory. The sequel could also balance the darkness and the pain of the first film with more light and hope, reflecting the theme of resurrection. Since 2004, Gibson has openly talked about the possibility of doing a sequel that continues the narrative. The Passion of the Christ was undeniably one of the most important biblical epics ever made by Hollywood, so it's not a surprise to see Gibson finally attempt to turn this into something of a loose franchise, especially at the time when franchises tend to have more drawing power than individual actors and directors. But it remains to be seen whether Gibson can pull off another hit appealing to the same evangelical audience that responded so positively to the first movie. Mel Gibson has said in many interviews that the story will not follow a straight line. He suggests that the movie will show how Jesus came back to life, but not exactly as the Bible describes it. He also says that there will be a main event that will connect with everything else in the movie. Gibson does not give away the main plot, but he hints that the movie will have a lot of scenes where Jesus battles Satan and his evil forces in hell. The film promises to be a wild and acid trip experience, according to Gibson interview that. Jim Caviezel said in an interview that the script was finished in September 2020 and that it would be the greatest film in world history. Gibson has collaborated with Randall Wallace on the script, with Wallace expressing interest in the sequel. "I always wanted to tell this story," Wallace said back in 2016. "The Passion is the start, and there's a lot more story to tell. The evangelical community thinks The Passion is the biggest movie ever from Hollywood, and they have been telling us that they expect a sequel that will be even bigger." Passion of the Christ 2 updates confirm that many actors from the 20-year-old film are coming back to continue the Bible's amazing story. Reportedly, Maia Morgenstern is returning to play her important role as Mary, Jesus' mother. Actor Francesco DeVito will once again play Peter, one of the most famous of Jesus' apostles. Finally, Christo Gikov is said to be playing the role of John, on whose gospel The Passion of the Christ was based. It is unclear if Monica Bellucci or Rosalinda Celentano will come back as Magdalene and Satan respectively. The Passion of the Christ Resurrection stands poised to be a cinematic masterpiece that surpasses its predecessor in both scope and depth. Mel Gibson's visionary storytelling, coupled with Randall Wallace's creative input, promises a film that will captivate audiences and provoke meaningful discussions long after the credits roll. With its exploration of faith, redemption, and the enduring power of love, the sequel delves into the aftermath of Jesus' resurrection, bringing to life the struggles and triumphs of his disciples and followers. The use of dramatic irony adds layers of intrigue and meaning, while the portrayal of Jesus' resurrection as a spiritual journey evokes contemplation and wonder. The film's aesthetics, faithful to the historical accuracy and multilingual approach of the first installment, weave together supernatural imagery and allegory to create an immersive and emotionally resonant experience. As anticipation builds, the return of key actors from the original film and the addition of fresh talent signal a compelling continuation of the biblical narrative. The passion and commitment exhibited by the cast and crew ensure that this sequel will be a true testament to the enduring impact of the Passion of the Christ. And that's that for today's video, folks. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. How do you think the sequel will address the criticism faced by the first film, particularly concerning allegations of anti-Semitism? Do you think the film's focus on the aftermath of Jesus' resurrection, rather than the crucifixion itself, will resonate with audiences in a profound and meaningful way? Well, do share your thoughts in the comments section below, and let us know which things ingrain you the most.